So for this video, you're going to be kind of overviewing what it is that you are actually going to be doing on your own for this assignment. After you have hopefully watched our previous video about kind of modeling how I would break down a reading for kind of perspective, you are going to be reading two different texts on your own. Right now, I am in the Google Doc, which you will have attached, that I would highly recommend that's how you read it. Because again, in your Google kind of form, you're going to have these readings. Here's our first one. Here is our second one. But you can't really code or highlight them. So if you go to the Google Doc, you can code, you can highlight, you can turn it different colors because you are going to use a quote, one quote for each of these answers, and then another one for the final independent practice question. And then you are going to also come across some vocabulary words that you probably don't know or are more difficult. I have put those in little parentheses for you. So if you don't know what rejoicing means, for example, that is happiness, different things to try to help you out. But once again, if you don't know a word, just copy and paste it into Google. You have this all at your fingertips. Please take advantage of it. But again, you are going to be reading two different readings from these two different perspectives. As we've mentioned earlier, the first reading, which is part 2 here, is called A Day of Triumph is the title. And this is an excerpt from a diary of a woman who lived in Massachusetts in the North, kind of describing how she felt at the end of the Civil War. The second reading is from the other side of the Civil War, and the title here is Conquered. And this is another diary entry from a lady who lived in the South, or part of the Confederacy. Of course, these people have two very different perspectives on the end of the war. You are going to be reading and kind of breaking down for understanding not only what are they saying in this text, but kind of looking for that perspective, their point of view. How do they feel about things, and why do they think or feel that certain way about these things or events going on in the world? You're going to read them, break it down as you go, code and highlight for specifically a kind of good quote that shows you a person's perspective. You're going to use these in your answers. And then there are a few questions, kind of like 3 or 4 for each of these two readings. And then you are going to have one last final independent practice question. The major reminder for that is use a quote. A lot of people are forgetting to do this. I put that in caps all right there. But you need to use a quote. For this final independent practice, just one, but you can use 2, but a minimum of 1 to answer how did these two different perspectives kind of differ, or what was the difference between the two of them. You're going to describe, well, this person felt a certain way about the war, they felt this way, but the other person felt differently about the war, they felt this way, and this is how they're different. This is what you're going to do for the independent practice or exit ticket. So make sure you break down the two texts, answer the questions, and then you're going to bring it all together for the exit ticket, comparing the differences between the two.